Hey everyone, this video is about non-lethal combat.
You might have many reasons to want to run a non-lethal campaign, whether it's because you're running a game for a school club, you're running a game with a bunch of kids, or maybe you're just tired of murder hobos. But there are a number of different ways that you can approach running a non-lethal campaign.
There are systems that specifically are for this, by the way. So there is one way of figuring out how to do it is just doing what the book tells you to do. Fiasco is a system that's all about running like a heist. And so I think you could do combat, but
it's not really built into the game.
No, that's not, especially like fighting each other or killing folks. That doesn't make for a great heist. The game I love, Tales from the Loop, that's baked into the rules. Kids don't die. There are fights and stuff like that. And if you're really looking for your sort of sword and sorcery, D&D or Pathfinder-like games, 7th Sea is a really fun system that we've played in, and that is a part of the rules, is that unless explicitly stated, combat goes until someone is unconscious, not dead.
But if you're wanting to run in a system that perhaps you're more familiar with, or is the kind of more traditional sword and sorcery fantasy games such as D&D or Pathfinder that do tend to be a lot more combat focused, here are a few ideas of how to do that. So the first one I would say is that you can just decide to, as a group, have a house rule that once you hit 0, they're just unconscious and that they're not going to automatically die, which we oftentimes do with monsters, but with D&D, I
mean, that's the rules. You hit 0 and then you start your death saving throws. But I think everybody just goes, oh, well, bad guys hit 0, they die.
So, you, as a table, you can just say, okay, you knock them unconscious, and they're not going to regain consciousness in, 10 minutes or, whatever it is that you decide, and just, that's the case.
Also, the fact that, not every fight has to be to the death. I mean, in fact, I guess, historically, although games don't have to be historical, so just let's keep that crap out of the comments. But, I mean, if you look at a lot of stuff, it was a fight to the death wouldn't be a phrase if every fight was to the death. When, animals attack something and they realize, oh crap, I'm getting hurt a lot, they tend to just run away. Or if somebody's really getting the crap beat out of them, a lot of the times they try to run away, or they ask for mercy, or they say, oh God, stop, I'm sorry, right? People can run away and give up, and monsters can too. So not everything needs to be to the death.
Yeah, and I think this is, as a game master, making sure that you encourage and don't ever penalize players for finding alternate ways to win an encounter, whether it's because, they so successfully had a super impactful round that the monster just is I'm in over my head, I'm gonna run away, or they find a way to sneak around the monster, to negotiate, to kind of talk their way through something.
Oh yeah, just avoiding the fight altogether.
Avoiding the fight. Finding those kind of alternate to combat or alternate forms of combat that aren't just running up and bashing it until it's dead.
Yeah, I mean, if you win the encounter, then give them the rewards for winning the encounter. Find a new clever way of they give over their coin purse as a way of saying, thanks for not killing me. Or as the monster runs away, it knocks something over and you discover a clutch of wyvern eggs that you can sell for a really high one. Or as the bad guys are escaping, that they drop their bag in order to get an extra 5 feet of round, and then your players still find the loot. And I actually think that that's really important, because I can see as a player, that's an easy one to be like, well, if we don't kill the bad guy, how are we going to get a super awesome battle axe? I think as a GM, just stating, look, this is going to be a kill-free game. If you're going to kill somebody, you have to state it, and there will be consequences. but don't worry, you're still going to get your cool stuff. And then have that happen very early.
Mm-hmm.
Have, narrate a scene where the bad guy runs away, or bad lady runs away, and yeah, you've lost the trail, but as you go, you find a backpack, you find a coin purse, and you find the bracers and breastplate that the leather straps have been cut, and it's going to cost you 10 silver to have that repaired, but you still got the armor, and you still got the gold, and you still got the stuff. And that teaches your players that, okay, we're not going to lose out on loot just because we don't kill folks.
Mm-hmm.
A special thanks to Tucker and to all of our Patreon patrons. If you'd like to support our channel directly, head over to Patreon and see all of the perks of joining in.
You said it briefly, but I also like the idea of introducing that there are consequences if you do choose to deal lethal damage. Maybe it's that suddenly there's a warrant out for your character's arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, making sure that it's clear, like, there's a consequence. There's a reason that we're playing a non-lethal game.
Yeah, and you can get pretty creative with that.
Oh, yeah.
A warrant or a local lord that doesn't want to deal with you anymore. Prices are higher in town because people knew who that guy was. I mean, there's lots of things. Even if it was a bandit in the area, as well as, every once in a while that character doesn't get the benefits of a full rest because they fail a wisdom save because, they're dealing with the consequences that they killed someone.
Yeah.
Let there be some of those consequences. I think that's right. I think that's a really good side of that coin to make sure is there.
Editing Dong, we forgot to make a point in this video, so I'm going to jump in right here. You can also run a campaign that focuses on non-combat stuff. So whether that's roleplay, exploration, perhaps you have lots of puzzles that the players have to solve. So that's another way that you can have a non-lethal campaign.
And with this, I think, especially if you are playing a D&D Pathfinder where combat is so ingrained in the system, and especially lethal combat kind of is the default, just have a conversation with the table and make sure the whole table's going to buy in, whether this is in a formal session 0 or just as you're figuring out the campaign. Make sure that everybody's like, cool, I understand, you aren't springing it on the players.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to your players, make sure there's that open communication. And if somebody's like, well, no, that's not what I want, maybe that's worth having the conversation of saying, like, we're still going to have combat almost every round, almost every session. It's just you're not cutting people's heads off. And if they still persist and they'll be like, no, it's really important to me that I get to pretend to kill someone, then maybe be like, okay, cool, this isn't the campaign for you.
Yeah.
We'll pick you up on the next one. But I don't know. I mean, I would find that super weird. But yeah, have you played in campaigns at home with home rules of saying where combat is non-lethal? Do you use that regularly? Or you played in any of the systems we talked about, or different systems where combat doesn't lead to death as a rule within the book? Let us know about those. We'd love to hear about some more of them to put into our library.
Yeah. And this video was suggested by Mock. Thank you.
Mock do Mock.
Mock do Mock.
Mock do Mock, yeah.
Mock do Mock. Thank you so much for that suggestion. So if you have any other suggestions, topics you'd love to see us cover, let us know that in the comments as well. All right. Well, until next time, I'm Dawn.
And I'm Ryan.
And this is Roll for Initiative.
Bye.
Bye. This video today, I'm going to do that at the end.
You're gonna go blah 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 at the end?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It is how I speak now.